and welcome. My name is Vishwan from Flowing with Life, and I'm very blessed to be here with my dear friend.
I'm blessed to be here too with Vishwan, and I'm Emma Madhava. It's an honour to be asked to be part of this retreat experience and co-creating. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, very much. This, if you haven't heard, this September together we're offering harmony and balance for ourselves and our world. A beautiful 3-night retreat in Dumfries in the lovely little village of New Abbey, which is rated one of the most picturesque villages in Scotland, and home to the Sweetheart Abbey.
It seems really apt with the connection with Hildegard and her, spiritual practices and her connection with being a nun. And how we're both feeling very drawn, inspired by her gifts and her work, her life and her heart, her offerings. And just thinking about it, I can feel that, feel really excited and moved to get to know her more, and her workings and her offerings, and to let them filter in to what we may share together. But for me, in the kitchen and with sound work as well, those influences, they're the areas that I'll be offering and sharing in cooking with heart, and the voice and sound work from the heart too.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'm looking forward to all of that very much. For those who may not know, one of the key influences of the retreat is the great 13th century German mystic and nun and musical composer and visionary and heart revolutionary, Hildegard von Bingen. So if you don't know about her already, you might want to check her out. She was a great force for transformation and for healing, for rebalancing gender relations in medieval Europe, and for promoting vitality and health. And one of the other reasons I really love her is she didn't just go along with worldly authority when it didn't match the truth of her heart. So she wrote letters to emperors and popes telling them off. For getting caught up in money and power games when that wasn't really what this work is about. So, for anyone who's got concerns or criticisms about religion and the problems that can come from that, she was with you very much. Yeah, a great revolutionary from the heart. So we're going to be exploring some of her teachings and how they connect with yoga, with meditation, with social activism and social action, and as Emma Madhava has shared, with food and healing and sound. And I wonder if, as we're finding out together, it feels like what this retreat is about, and we'll find out even more when we're all together in person. Could I just ask you, Madhava, what you're feeling is the essence of the aliveness of the retreat for you right now?
kind of harmonizing, bringing everything into balance. I mean, that's the theme. But I'm really, as I'm tuning into Hildegard's work more, and my kind of experience in the kitchen, retreat cooking with retreat cooking. You know, it's you know, I'm really feeling that energy of kind of how we can do that on all levels. You know, it's that balance of the physical and the emotional and the spiritual life that we have. So it's that just really paying attention to all of those areas and just noticing the subtleties of maybe the imbalances. And there can be beauty in that as well. You know, that relationship between disharmony and harmony. You know, we have both. And to be with where we are, but just to maybe, you know, offer some attention, some love, some kindness and compassion, some wisdom, you know, some knowledge, some experience and practice to kind of just to settle and harmonize more. You know, that's, yeah, a little more of this. That's kind of what I'm feeling, and generally that for me that's my routine. You know, I've got the luxury now as this connection with Hildegard, and those themes have arrived, is to sit with that. And for me, in the space between now and then, is to kind of offer my own little immersion into those themes and gifts from Hildegard, to then to share when we arrive together. So
Beautiful.
And I read something about Hildegard about, you know, the joy of food. And that's really important. You know, it isn't all this. You know, we have to, you know, detoxify and cleanse, and, you know, we do need to look after our digestive system and offer it some kindness to work, you know, optimally. But I love, she does, there's this recipe for, you know, spiced biscuits because they bring joy. And that's, you know, for me, you know, that's in the process of cooking. There's a lot of joy there for me, and the joy in sharing, but the joy in eating, enjoying what you're eating as well, you know. So knowing that it's nourishing, but there's enjoying the process, enjoying the experience of it, you know. So yeah, joy as well. Joy in coming together, in community and sharing, and joy in space as well. I think as well, creating space for yourself, and the joy in that. So, yeah. But how about you? Your sense and feeling of the retreat space and what it may offer, and what's there for you emerging.
So one of the things I love about the venue is that it has a beautiful walled garden, including some quite wild spaces, and a little, like a mill pond, and there's a river. So it feels very much in keeping with Hildegard's spirit, to be connecting deeply with nature. She saw the divine in all life. And we've been discovering, I think, even more collectively over the last year and a half, the value of spending time in nature. And this is an opportunity to go even deeper, to connect directly through the very sensitive, alert, aware, perceptual, we could say, organ of the heart, not the physical heart, but the spiritual one. And we're able to listen, to see, to feel, and connect with the sacredness of life in a very deep and profound way. And by coming together, being in the garden, returning to the garden, which is always with us, really. So it feels like that earth, deep earth connection is an essential part. And finding our, what we could call freedom. So Hildegard and other great teachers who we will also be drawing upon speak very much of that freedom doesn't come from changing the world. Freedom comes from our deep inner exploration and discovery that who we are is beyond all bounds. And together we will be making steps towards that awareness and that awakening. So this is a special opportunity, really, to come together in peace and joy and harmony and balance, and to live our natural lives, to live natural human lives beyond the conditioning and expectation that we've grown up with. It seems time for a new earth to be born. So you've been finding out a little bit about Hildegard since we've started talking about the retreat. Did you know about her before?
I did. I'd heard her music, so I'd been introduced to that. The beautiful, heavenly sounds, very the cathedral qualities, really. And I always kind of, when I listen to it, I'm on a journey, spiraling up and spiraling out, So she was in my awareness. I knew of her and I knew of some of her music, not only a little. I didn't know about her healing work with food. I didn't know that she was a doctor. So for me, that, I'm just starting to explore those aspects of her work, which I'm really excited about. So yeah, I feel like I want to say thank you for kind of, reintroducing her to me. She was in my awareness, but not prolifically. And now I'm thirsty. I'm thirsty and hungry for some more of her essence and her qualities and what she has to offer, for sure. So, have you read much about her, Vishwan? Is there a particular book or text that you can recommend, or that's touched you? Or
Well, I first encountered Hildegard in the same room that I first encountered you.
Tell me.
So that was the kind of spirituality and philosophy room in that amazing secondhand bookshop in Cromford, Scarthen Books. So I worked there for a year, and we met in that room in that year, and everything has blossomed from there for us, it seems. And I also found a book about Hildegard's teachings with some of her. She had these beautiful visions, incredible visions, and had them painted, and the paintings are absolutely gorgeous. And so it was a book of Matthew Fox's writing and commentary on her work with the pictures, and which is very beautiful. Visions, I think, is in the title somewhere. There's a movie about her life called Visions, which is wonderful. So I've streamed that and really enjoyed that. And I've read some autobiographical fiction based on her life, and I've read some other of her teachings, and I've got a book of her poetry. And so I've been diving deep into her work and her approach for quite a few years now. and always discovering more. And the retreat actually begins on the anniversary of her Mahasamadhi, her conscious departure from the body, which is the 17th of September. So I know.
Some lovely synchronicity there, yeah.
I had initially just felt that the equinox was the obvious time for harmony and balance, and then to see in my diary, because I put things like that in my diary, to see that it was the same is just perfect, really.
So I don't know about you, but for me it feels like her presence is becoming a greater and greater influence. It's becoming stronger and stronger into the retreat.
Yeah, I think probably it's been very strong from the beginning, but she's just revealing herself more and more. I don't think she wanted to startle anyone.
Gently, like, I'm here. And now I'm really here. We'll have those kind of revelations about awareness of presence. So it's, yeah. She'll reveal more for sure when we're all together, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I'm sure. And other great teachers' presence will be invited as well. So it's, it's we can kind of get hung up on labels. And, so we could say Hildegard was Christian because that was what was available to her in a way. I don't think she would ever limit herself to that, or that we can put her in that box. That what she offers is beyond any category and any image of the divine. It's beyond all of that, to a direct connection with what is. And if we want to call that God, or love, or universal consciousness, or life itself, we can use whatever words we like. We can have whatever path we have. I know her teachings and her approach resonates very much with pagans, for example. And there are those who suggest that she was very aware of the teachings and traditions of indigenous North American people, from explorers who, before what Columbus did, had gone and listened and discovered. And there's one of her beautiful vision paintings has a man with red skin. And yeah, so at the center in a beautiful way, a beautiful presence. So for those who are drawn to earth-based spirituality, to those who are drawn to yoga, to those who simply want to live in the heart and be at peace, I think what she's sharing and what will be shared in this retreat is could be just what you're looking for.
I have the sense that the retreat setting really will support that experience as well. And there is a very, very kind of heaven and earth feeling around that. And I know Hildegard, she discusses kind of the four humours, or kind of characters of us humans, and they connect directly to the elements. And for me, that's also an area that I'll be exploring in the kitchen, and bringing and harmonizing those elements within, So sometimes I like to refer to it as like the Sattvic simmer, that kind of, we need, you know, the energy, the rajasic energy, and then we need the tamasic kind of lethargy sometimes. But it's just tweaking the gas, you know, the fuel, or the, you know, the energy around it. Just find that sattvic simmer, and then within the yogic terms and philosophy. But for me, applying that to the elements as well, and where we can find those harmonizing effects and balancing. And I'm exploring that in the kitchen with some work and a course that I'm working through called the Elemental Kitchen. And I love the way that it ties in with Hildegard's approach as well within her food. But it, you know, from the sounds of it and what you're describing with the, you know, the artwork and the poetry of her visions or graces. I read that she would call her visions graces. And it's like, oh, these graces from the divine and then from the heart. You know, that there's that balance there. There's that balance. Tell me a little bit, Vishram, about your poetry, because that's, for me, that feels like it's a lovely connecting thread as well. And I know we've worked together with sound and with the poetry, with a moon serenade in the past, and that may feature. But I'd really like to hear more about your poetry, and if there's some space for that this weekend as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, Hildegard's, among other things, the patron saint of writers, which I only discovered recently. And for many years, I was a writer in a scholarly way, exploring, you know, inequality and questions of freedom. And since the pandemic has arrived and I've had more quiet time at home, I found myself, I found poems writing themselves through me, I'd say. Very much along the same themes that we've been talking about. And some of them are quite playfully humorous. Like I find myself laughing when I get to the end, going, oh, you know, I didn't expect it to do that. So I call them medicine poems because they seem to bring healing and to connect with the source of healing. And so we will be sharing some poetry, and also I feel to have a medicine poem workshop where everyone will have space to write their own medicine poem, to connect directly with that source of healing and let the words flow. And that will be a very beautiful, special time together. Mm-hmm. And and I hope you and I can do a jam session together with some poetry and singing and sound bowls and all of that.
Yeah, that would be lovely to share that space. And in person, because the last time we did it, it was via Zoom, so it'll be wonderful to share that together in person. It's a different energy for sure. We're blessed to have had Zoom and still have it, but I think there's something for me about this retreat, kind of gathering us in and sharing that connection in a safe way, in a safe space.
Yeah. So the one thing I wanted to say about that, in case you haven't seen on the website, is that if anyone needs to cancel because of COVID-related issues, full refund, no questions, no problem. And also that we'll be talking with each of you about concerns and about how to practice self-care, how to keep clear in the run-up to the retreat so that we all can come together safely. So we're giving this a lot of loving attention, absolute loving attention, because it's very special to be able to come together And we want to do that in a way that's good for all of us. I'm a little aware of time. We don't want a video to be too long, but also I don't want to end on it necessarily. So just thinking, yeah, I wonder, I'd just like to, I guess, both make a comment and ask a question in a way about the kitchen, because I'm a little conscious that in our society, we relegate the kitchen and the feminine to the sidelines. And I really want to see those as central. And I wonder what you think and feel, Martiva.
So in what way?
Oh, well, so you talk about being in the kitchen.
Well, yeah, for me, it's you know, I'm not banished there. I'm not, you know, it's a portal. It's a portal for creation, and for me, it's I can spend hours in the kitchen, and it's the process of, you know, integrating, you know. No, interacting. I'm interacting with these live elements and, you know, ingredients, and, you know, how do they want to be treated, and, you know, how can I serve them best, you know? So it's a practice for me, and you know, that's how I see it. It's another form of yoga and union and connection, and then you know, nothing's a failure. Not to have expectation. You know, the picture of what I thought might be created doesn't always happen, and sometimes it can surpass that, and sometimes it's like, well, you know, there's still wonderful nourishment here. You know, so it's a place for joy and for sure, and ultimately, you know, a place for a practice of the heart as well, and then in sharing that. So for me, it's a language and another expression of the divine, and it would be lovely maybe to share. You know, I'm a student. I'm forever a student, and I'm no expert, but, you know, I have a passion and a joy, and I love to cook with heart, from the heart. So I hope that translates. And then maybe there might be a space for us to share doing some of that together as a practice, you know. So maybe we'll make some, you know, spiced biscuits of joy together. I don't know. We'll see. I'll think more on that and feel my way into that more. But yeah, I think whether, you know, for me, it's that source of connection for sure. So does that kind of answer that? Yeah.
It does, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, the source of connection, I think, is perfect.
And as well, the sound, you know, I love to listen to chants, and I love to chant. I love to, you know, I'm not a singer. I'm just connecting to that, to sound when I'm in the kitchen, and then obviously that translates out and moves out into the sound space, the healing sound space, as a sound healer, you know. So I'll be bringing my bowls and my bells and maybe my shruti box, and we'll see how we're moved to connect together with sound, for you to receive it as well as maybe make it together. So.
Oh, this retreat sounds just heavenly.
Should we go?
Let's go.
Should we do it?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyone who wants to join us is very welcome, and you can find the details in the link in the video description below if you found this entertaining and yeah, want to find out more about this way of living and being. You might subscribe to the channel. So thank you, Mardava. Thank you for everything and all that's still to come. And thank you for listening, everyone. Om Shanti.